Saxon tribes who came from northern Europe, countries now called Germany, Denmark and Holland, crossing over the North Sea to find a new place to live, a land left behind by the Romans, a land then called Britannia. These new people travelled up the rivers in small boats and settled with the local people and other tribes. This became known as England, the land of the Angles, and these Anglo-Saxons were the first English. It was around the year 420 AD that a tribe of Anglo-Saxons built a village at Stow, which in their language meant a special place. But is it possible, in the 21st century, to see exactly what it was like to live in Stow back in Anglo-Saxon times? Is there a story that can be read in the soil now, in the archaeology of West Stow? The excavations showed that the village of Stow was built on a small hill near the River Lark. There were two groups of houses, each home to an extended family. For over 30 years at West Stow, experimental archaeology has been used to test ideas about what it could have been like in early Anglo-Saxon times. Much has been discovered, and many new questions have been raised about the houses found here and the people who lived in them. The excavation revealed many things. They lived off the land around them, grew crops, raised animals, and could skillfully make everything they needed for their life in the village, including combs, pottery, cloth, and knives. But what of their buildings? At the centre of each group of houses was a hall built of posts. The archaeologists also found pits and post holes, which showed the positions of the houses at Stow, but did not explain exactly how they had been built. For a long time, archaeologists thought that the Anglo-Saxons lived in the pits, so only needed a low roof. But after experimental archaeology was carried out at West Stow, based upon the evidence found, it became clear that idea was wrong. First, there was the archaeological evidence. As well as the clues of the pits and the post holes, there were also the remains of two buildings, which burnt down in Anglo-Saxon times. The whole structure had fallen into the pit during the fire. The wood from these houses survived as charcoal, but sandwiched between them were wicks from some of the weaving looms, which indicated that the lower layer had been floor planks, and the upper layer wall planks. Secondly, there was the reconstructional evidence. The sunken house was built in order to test the idea of living in the pit. However, people walking in the pit changed it and filled it with sand, so it no longer matched the pits found by the archaeologists, who now believe the pit was beneath the wooden floors. This is how the rest of the houses were reconstructed. Once the pit was dug, 2 or 6 posts would then be put into place to hold up the roof. The floorboards sat upon the frame above the pit. The burned wood remains also showed that the buildings were made from big oak trees, which were split into sections using wooden or iron wedges. The wood was then shaped using axes. All the reconstructed buildings are different in order to test out various ideas. There are, for example, many types of walls. So, by a combination of using clues from the past and testing out different ideas based on evidence, West Stow has been reconstructed as a way of finding out about the Anglo-Saxons who once lived there. But so much depends upon how people of today understand the evidence, how it is interpreted. The thousands of objects that were excavated provide an insight into what life was like at West Stow. Some of these were lost or thrown away in the village, and others were very special objects, deliberately buried at the cemetery. All these show what the Anglo-Saxons used, threw away, or treasured. By gaining an understanding of our ancestors, can people of today also understand themselves better? And so, a picture of early Anglo-Saxon life has been built at West Stow, based upon the evidence from the excavation, the finds, the years of experimental archaeology, and the testing of reconstructed buildings. But this is only one interpretation, and there is still much that is not known. Archaeology cannot provide all the answers we need. Another important source is the Beowulf story, once told by the Anglo-Saxons themselves in villages like Stow. This imaginative adventure, passed down through generations, can give glimpses of other aspects which leave no evidence. So just who were the real Anglo-Saxons? What were their thoughts, their passions, their loves and their fears? When you walk up to the reconstructed village, you will be walking in their footsteps. Imagine what it was like to be an Anglo-Saxon. Just imagine.